Good morning, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome once again. I'm Rabbi Ed Feinstein. This is Valley Beth Shalom live and online. And once again, it is our privilege to study the weekly Torah portion with our dear friend, Rabbi Hillel Silverman. Good morning, Hillel. Shabbat Shalom.
Good morning, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom to you.
Well, this morning, of course, we begin the reading of the Torah all over again. It is once again Parshat Breshit, a chance for all of us to start the Torah again. So tell us what we can be looking for in this week's Torah portion.
The beginning of the Sedra this morning, the beginning of the Torah, the beginning of the Bible, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. In these majestic words, we have a description of the world and the description of mankind. You would think that the beginning of a Torah reading such as this, the beginning of the Bible, would have some kind of a proof that God exists, a proof increasing and adding to the speculation about the world, who created God, did matter exist, how did it come about? The Bible does not have a proof at the beginning or at the end. The Bible assumes that there was a divine force which created the world and created human beings. Religion begins with the heart. Religion begins with feeling. It's only later that religion comes to the mind, to the intellect, for the believer, proof of God is superfluous. For the disbeliever, no proof of God is valid. I'll repeat that. For the believer, proof of God is superfluous. For the disbeliever, no proof is valid. We must understand what the Bible really is. The Bible is not a book of science. The Bible claims not its origin in science. The Bible is not a book of cosmology. The Bible is not a book of literature, the way there is great literature in the Bible. The book is not a book of history, though there is history in the Bible. So what is the Bible? The Bible is the greatest book of ethics and morality that has ever been given to man. The Bible is a book of religion. The Bible concerns the relationship of man to God and the relationship of man to man. The Bible is a book helping assist us in living a good life, assisting us in behavior. The fundamentalist believes that literally in God, word for word, in the Bible. There is in Genesis a hint of evolution. The Bible seems to have been created from darkness, water, to vegetation, to animals, and finally to mankind. The Bible talks about the creation, and we say, well, one day in the eyes of God are 1,000 years, but that's really not an answer. For years and years, for centuries, we translated Bereshit bara, in the beginning. In the beginning. The truth of the matter is, scholars point out that Bereshit here does not mean in the beginning. Bereshit here means, and when God began to create, millions and millions of years, and then God began to create. Years ago in the 1980s, there was the Scopes monkey trial. And if you want to see something very, very interesting, try to get a copy of Inherit the Wind, where all of this fundamentalism is discovered. The Bible begins with faith in God. The Bible sees the potentiality of our living a fully human life. What I'm going to do this Sabbath morning is take 4 different passages, 4 different texts, 4 different stories of many that exist in the reading, which show how the Bible serves as a book of ethics and morality to help us live a more fully human life and to help us understand what life means. My first example is the creation of man, the creation of Adam. Actually, Adam was the name, but Adam also means every man, because in the biblical description, Adam is not a Christian, Adam is not a Jew, Adam is not a Hindu, Adam is not a Buddhist, Adam is every man. And how does the Bible say that this original Adam, every man, was created? From the dust of the earth. Adam, Adamah, the dirt, the dust of the earth. Rabbis comment that God created Adam by taking earth from the 4 corners of the world to teach us that a person should not say, my ancestor is more important than your ancestor. We all have a common ancestor, dust, dirt, from the 4 corners of the world. All people are equal. This is such an important insight into human behavior. All people are equal and should be treated equally. Example number 2, Adam and Eve are in the Garden of Eden, and God tells them not to eat of the fruit which distinguishes between good and evil. And you remember the story, very interesting story. The snake entices Eve, gives her the fruit, which, by the way, probably was not an apple, but a fig or a date. An apple, and this fruit is transmitted from Eve to Adam. And so they go to the Garden of Eden with a fruit that they have eaten and should not have tasted. And God says, searching for Adam, Adam in Hebrew, Ayeka, where are you, Adam? Where are you? That's a very, very strange comment. After all, God is omnipotent. God is omniscient. God should know where Adam is. The point of the story, according to our rabbis, is that God did not want to know where Adam was. God wanted to know that Adam should know where he was. Adam has responsibility. What has Adam done? This is the interpretation of Adam, where are you? It's a story, the teaching, the moral story of individuality, individual responsibility. You cannot seek a hiding place and avoid your responsibility. You must use your potentiality to live a fully human life. So that's the second text, which will help us in human behavior. What is the third text? Adam and Eve, according to the story this morning, are blessed with children, Cain and Abel. And there is a hostility between these 2 brothers, Cain and Abel. Perhaps the hostility of the farmer and the shepherd. And they have an argument. We don't know exactly what they argued about. It seems that each one brought a sacrifice to the Lord, but God accepted the sacrifice of Abel, and Cain lost his temper, and in cold blood he slew his brother Abel. God seeks Cain. What have you done? Where are you? And what does Cain answer? Hashomer achi Anochi. Am I my brother's keeper? My brother's keeper, my brother's guardian, my brother's guide, my brother's mentor. What he should really have said was, am I my brother's brother? Yes, Cain, you are your brother's brother. We are all brothers and sisters in this world, and we should care, and we should help, and we should sacrifice. And then what does the Lord do according to the Bible story this morning? He places an oath, a sign upon Cain's head. And the sign, of course, is resented by Cain. And Cain says to the Lord, I cannot bear this punishment. Hashomer, Achi, Anochi. And so the fourth teaching of the Torah this morning is, I cannot bear my iniquity. I cannot bear what God has done to me. I cannot bear the punishment. Gadol avoni means so. My iniquity is more than I can bear. Now, what was his punishment? It was not death. It was not imprisonment. It was not incarceration. He was told he was going to be a no vanod, a fugitive, a vagabond. It was a psychological punishment. He was going to be isolated. He was going to be abandoned. And so we learn from this that one of the great punishments of our times is isolation and abandonment. So these are four different texts, each one commenting upon human behavior. And it's interesting, sibling rivalry comes into contact through the rest of the book of Genesis. You have the sibling rivalry of Isaac and Ishmael, who are the sons of Abraham. You have the sibling rivalry of Jacob and Esau, who are the sons of Isaac. You have the sibling rivalry of Joseph and his brothers, who are the children of Jacob. And the rest of the Bible, in many, many passages, has stories of deceit, of stories of hatred, of stories of exploitation, of stories of pride. And you wonder, what kind of a book is this? What kind of a teaching do we have in the Bible when there is such hatred and such deceit? The answer is that the Bible has been given by God to real people in a real world. And this is what the real world, unfortunately, is about. There are problems in human behavior. There are problems within the family. There are problems within the community. And it is the Bible which is going to help us cope with hatred, envy, exploitation, selfishness, and help us in human relationship. And God knows that we need help. We need a guide. We need some kind of a blueprint for human behavior. And there is no teaching, no book in the world as the Bible. The rest of the Bible, of course, has to do with love and kindness and forgiveness and sacrifice. And so in the Bible, we have the book of Genesis beginning this morning. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And then comes the second part of the Bible, the prophets, the early prophets, Joshua, Judges, Samuel, Kings, and the later prophets, the 12 major prophets, the important prophets, Ezekiel, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Hosea. And the third section of the Bible is the Ketubim, the writings, Tanakh, Torah, Judges, and writings. And the writings are also a blueprint for human behavior. Psalms, Proverbs, Song of Songs, the Psalms, Ecclesiastes. And so in our human life and with our human problems, we need the help and the guidance and the blueprint of the Bible. There is no better Bible, no better teaching in the world. How can we summarize today's teaching in one line? There are many ways, of course, there are many passages, but one of the best is Micah. Micah is the one who says, "It is told thee, O man, what is good, and what the Lord thy God requires of thee, only to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." What a wonderful, wonderful passage this is to help human behavior. I repeat it. What does the Lord require of thee? Only to do justly, to live righteously, to do the right thing, to love mercy, to be compassionate, and to walk humbly, live decently with thy fellow man. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi. Thank you for reminding us of the value of this book and of what's expected us in life, especially at this moment of crisis and chaos, to hold on to something that is true and eternal, and something that's so powerful is very great. We're very grateful. Have a very good week, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom, and have a wonderful Shabbos today and a wonderful week following Shavua Tov. Take good care.
Shabbat Shalom.